Hello and welcome to a kind of different editing video. What you can see here is actually a sunset from the Swiss mountain Rigi, so the view upon the valley, the lake and the beautiful mountains in the background. Now as you can see, it's quite faded and kind of hazy because it's quite the distance. I shot this at 124mm, so you can see miles into the distance. But I'm just gonna attempt to edit this picture and maybe something good will come out of it. So I definitely think I'm gonna decrease the highlights here. And the thing that we definitely need in this picture is much more clarity, because the textures are almost too washed out, even though I like the very soft look. And then contrast is definitely needed as well, and we already have some more textures, but let's see with the blacks. Yeah, here we really get more textures. Maybe let's see how far I want to bring down the blacks. I mean, it looks pretty terrible right now, but I might even bring down the contrast once again, because that's kind of too much. Yeah, something like that. And let's see with the clarity. Maybe bring down the clarity as well. And I kind of like the look already in terms of color. It's not really there yet, but in terms of shapes and in terms of detail, especially in these mountains in the background right here, I think the amount of texture we have is pretty good, even though we have a lot of noise. So let's see, I think there's a bit too much blue, so let me see if I want to change the overall color temperature. But I don't really want to do that actually. Maybe just a little bit towards the yellows here. And in terms of tint, we already have a ton of magenta, so I don't think I want to add any more here. Shadows? Yeah, I'm definitely gonna raise the shadows a bit, not 100% in this picture. And to the whites, usually I would just bring the white slider to the right and just up before it clips, but for this photo it really doesn't work out that well. So I think I'm just gonna bring the white slider a bit to the right, and I feel like that's pretty good for the basic adjustments tool. So let's go down to the tonal curve and definitely introduce some plus highlights here. That looks absolutely overdone. So I'm just gonna bring that up a little bit for this photo, something like that. I might as well just play around with the other sliders. This one right here, I think I might even bring that down a bit, and to the shadows, just affecting the very dark parts of the picture. I'm not gonna bother with the HSL tool with this picture, because I don't really worry about fine-tuning the color that much. But split toning, let's see if I want to add any color in the highlights or shadows of the picture. Maybe a bit more variety would work. Maybe even a bit of blue. It's really difficult to decide. You know, usually when I edit a picture I kinda know what I want to do, but this really is a first edit for me for this kind of picture, so that's why it's kind of slower and not so direct from steps to step. I think I might even add a little bit of orange in the highlights, just a tiny bit. And to the shadows, I really don't want to add anything in the shadows here. They already have enough blues, and any other color doesn't really work. And the detail tool, because we've edited this picture so much clarity, so bringing down the black so much, it really has a ton of noise and also color noise. So we're definitely gonna have to introduce some noise reduction here. I really don't like noise reduction, but for this picture we don't have another choice. It would just be way too much noise. And as you can see, all over the picture is this green and purple sensor noise, more than I've ever seen before. So I'm just gonna bring the color slider to the right until everything disappears. And there's still a little bit, so I think I might have to bring that to 100. And yeah, I almost can't see any color noise anymore. Really amazing, this little slider. So as you can see, everything looks a bit more plasticky and a bit less sharp. So that's definitely because of the noise reduction, but we can counter that at least a little bit by adding some sharpening. Let's zoom in 1:1 again. And I feel like a bit more sharpening than usual could work for this picture. Maybe around 80. And then bringing down the masking slider to the right actually. And just see, so we don't select too much of the sky. Yeah, I think that works pretty good. So I definitely think the picture looks way better than with what we started with, but definitely gonna make some more adjustments, lens corrections, definitely chromatic aberration and profile correction here. I used the Tamron 72-300 lens for this photo, and distortion removing is definitely nice, but vignetting, I really don't like the vignetting removed. It kinda looks almost fake. So I'm just gonna bring down the vignetting again, and I really like that. And let's see if I wanna add some additional vignetting. When, then I'm definitely gonna just do it a little bit. Maybe -2 works a bit better. And in terms of overall picture, I think we're already pretty close to in terms of color and texture. But in terms of the sky, I feel like I'm gonna grab a graduated filter, just drag it over the right portion of the sky, and just attempt to make this a bit brighter, especially in the top right corner, just so we have a bit more dynamics, just so it looks like the sunlight comes from the right. And I do like that, but let's create another one actually and bring it over the top left corner of the sky, and this time reduce the exposure slightly. Really don't want to do that over too much, just a tiny bit, maybe -16, -13, something like that. And I feel like this bluish region above the pink region is a bit too strong. I don't mind it being there, but it's just too much saturated. So I'm gonna grab another graduated filter, just drag it over the very top for this blue part, and then maybe, I don't think lowering saturation is such a good idea, but maybe introducing some tint, some magenta tint, maybe making the overall thing a bit warmer. Yeah, just so there's less distinct differentiation between the two parts. You can still see a little bit of differentiation, but it's not that much that it really bothers me anymore. And I mean, I do like the overall feel for this picture, but I just think it was a bit too far away and a bit too foggy to capture a really good quality image. Because as you can see, even though we're just at 200 ISO, I've chosen 200 ISO instead of 100 because I'm at 124 millimeters and I'm just at 115th of a second exposure time. And even though I had the lens on a tripod, it still was a bit windy, so I wouldn't get any sharp results with 100 ISO and 1/8 of a second exposure time. So that's why I chose that right here. And even though we just have ISO 200, because we've edited this picture so drastically, we had so much noise that I've really had to go deep into the noise reduction, which of course takes away a lot of sharpness and overall quality of the picture. But I do like the overall mood, the overall color is also pretty nice. Just two things that I don't like about the picture though is the bottom left of the image is a bit too bright. So I'm just gonna grab an adjustment brush here, make sure the feather is 200 as always, and just paint over the bottom left corner. Make it look very natural. That's a bit too dark, so maybe -0.16. Maybe even a little bit less minus, Really just a tiny bit, yeah. I do like that a bit better because you see the transformation from dark to kind of medium shade to very bright in the top right corner of the sky. I feel like I'm done with the overall picture adjustments, so the last thing I'm gonna do to this photo is, as always, grab a gradual filter and just add some dodge and burning to it. So I'll see you in a second. Alright, so I'm back after adding quite a lot of plus exposure radial filters, and I just kinda introduced some more warmth, some more lighting into the foreground. Here's without any dodge and burning, and here's with, so I definitely think it works for this picture. And with that said, I think I'm already done. Let's see where we started at with the raw file. Here's the raw file, it really looks totally different, almost impossible to see where this comes from. And yeah, I think we have a pretty decent picture. Yeah, that's definitely an incredible difference. So even though this picture isn't one of the greatest, I still think it turned out pretty good considering what we've had as a raw file as a starting point. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. If you would like to see more videos like this one, be sure to subscribe, and if you liked the video, you know what to do, and if you disliked the video, you also know what to do. I wanna wish you an amazing day, please keep taking awesome pictures, and please take care.